I told you it could last 2 weeks and 2 days. This is 2 weeks. This is 3 weeks. You were a wonderful jury to work with. You were punctual. You were attentive. And the forgotten six over here who had a very difficult job of keeping from discussing the case during the time that they were sequestered as well. All of you, I couldn't have asked for a better jury to work with. And it has truly been my pleasure. I think, without commenting on the verdicts themselves, just in terms of your the attentiveness and the cooperation that you gave to us, this justifies the confidence that the founders of our country placed in you.
Folks, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to tell you that this basically shows how fucked up our justice system is. Now, if you've been living under a rock and everything's on the way, not knowing what's going on these past few days, you should really go on the internet and find out what's going on about this whole trial. Now, on Friday, Rittenhouse was found not guilty on homicide and other charges, as seen from the video, in a deeply defensive case that ignited a national debate over vigilantism, gun rights, and the definition of self-defense. And after many hours and days of this trial, the jury came up with this nonsense. Again, after many hours and days during this trial, they came up with that. Now, from the video, you can see Rittenhouse sobbed and was being held by his lawyers after the clerk read the verdict. This case, y'all, it basically reflected the sharp split in the country, and many political leaders and others weighed in almost immediately after hearing the outcome of this. People like President Biden, with his response to it, I'm just looking, I go, wow, man, just wow. Then you got Trump Jr. thinking, oh, hey, this is a win for us, as apparently I guess it is. And conservatives deeming it a win, and the notion of self-defense, and liberals having to label it as a failure of his criminal justice system. And again, like I said, it truly is. Now, a key thing I want to say about this whole thing, well, one of the key things I want to say, is that the judge for this case, Bruce Schroeder, should never have another case again. This judge was basically biased throughout this whole trial. Like, seriously, he said some things that just a judge should never have said in the courthouse, or even on national TV. Things like this.
So it's going to be a closely watched door. All right, anything else?
What time do you expect?
Let's hope for 1 o'clock. I don't know. Hope the Asian food isn't coming. Isn't on one of those boats in Long Beach Harbor. But let's aim for 1 o'clock.
Oh yeah. So, like I said in my last video that I posted about this, Rittenhouse had a certain amount of charges on him. And one of the charges was dismissed by this judge. It was his sixth charge, and which was the illegal possession of the rifle. Now, the judge dismissed this after defense lawyers argued that Rittenhouse did not violate the state's statute in question because of his age and the length of the weapon's barrel. So basically, they legit looked at this barrel and everything's on the weight. Okay, wow, just okay. And the gun was purchased by a friend of Rittenhouse, Dominic Black, because Rittenhouse was 17 during the time and not legally old enough to purchase it, as the testimony showed. If that was me, I would have been like, hell no, I'm not buying you this. I'm not that stupid, and I'm not going to help you out with that. But it did happen with his friend, you know. And along with this whole trial, you know, Rittenhouse's lawyers, they were going through hoops and all this kind of stuff. And with this charge, they found a loophole that went back to a bill in 1991, which allowed minors to own rifles and shotguns as long as they are short barrel. Now, as they viewed the short barrel of this gun, Rittenhouse's AR-15 was not short barrel, where Schroeder basically dismissed the charge. Hence why he should never judge another case. I'm sorry, but again, this is a lot to go with. Now, after last week, you know, the defense moved for mistrial after Mr. Binger, the lawyer who had questions on the topic, question on the judge, as he basically was off limits, as you saw from the video last time, basically was sabotaging the trial to avoid an acquittal. So basically, there was a confrontation between the judge and Mr. Binger, and a lot of people, you know, were talking about this as well.
For me, not for you.
My understanding of
You should have come and asked for reconsideration. You did on the one motion, and in fact, I granted your motion for reconsideration.
That was not our motion.
Excuse me. I did. I granted.
We did not move
That
to
was
reconsider.
their motion.
We have not filed any
forgive me.
motions to reconsider
Forgive
in
me.
this case.
That was their motion for reconsideration, which I denied. But I said I denied it, or I indicated a bias towards denial is what I did. Held it open with a bias towards denial. Why would you think that that made it okay for you, without any advance notice, to bring this matter before the jury? I was astonished when you began your examination by commenting on the defendant's post-arrest silence. That's basic law. It's been basic law in this country for 40 years, 50 years. I have no idea why you would do something like that. And it gives, well, I'll leave it at that. So I don't know what you're up to.
Again, all of this is just painful. And with Schroeder being in that courthouse, apparently he is the longest serving circuit court judge in Wisconsin. And he insisted on keeping politics out of the courthouse and scolding a juror who declared that he is, in belief in the Second Amendment, made him biased in favor of Rittenhouse. However, Schroeder drew attention with the whole, Asian remark. And then he drew also attention on Veterans Day for an unusual step of promoting the jury to applaud a defense witness who was a veteran, and for periodically launching into meaning asides for the jury on legal theory, Roman history, and the Bible. So you can tell that me as an African American, well, I can tell you, my apologies, that just this is America. This is how we figure out who gets privilege and who does not. It goes to show that who matters and who doesn't. People, I just gotta say, we knew. I knew that this was going to happen. And it's not even going to stop. you know, I had a small amount of hope, thinking that he will be found guilty. But again, I knew that this was going to happen, and that outcome. And people are going to be like, oh, Bryant, this isn't about like racism, blah, blah, blah. It is. It truly is. You can say that all you want, but it definitely is. I'm going to show y'all something. This is a Nerf gun. If I happen to go outside and I happen to play around with this and, you know, like it is, and I'm shooting like, let's say, shooting just out there for shooting some little targets that I have out there and whatnot, that'd be fine. That's fun in a way. But to someone else, they can think that, oh, they see me holding a gun, this is a weapon. Now, if I spray painted this black and did the same thing, people gonna assume, oh, he gonna kill somebody with this. Yet, this Nerf gun only shoots little rubber pelts. What matters isn't the gun. What matters is the person holding that gun. Again, like I said, it's privilege. It shows who gets, you know, who gets hope and who doesn't. It shows that we are terrified because our justice system doesn't care about certain people. And with this trial, people are going to think, yeah, you know, this is going to be in history books and everything its own way. People are going to be for it. People are going to be against it. There's so much more. Now, Rittenhouse, even, you know, with him being acquitted at all this, he's basically going to be used for political and whatnot. He's going to be a political tool in the sense for being used for political ends. And just spitballing him, but more than likely he'll be at like gun shows and giving everybody autographs and be like, ha ha ha, you know, I did this, ha ha ha, you know, it's all good in games. But what about the victims? Oh wait, I'm sorry. The judge didn't want to call them victims. He wanted to call them looters and rioters. But they were victims. And those families, the people that he killed, they can't get them back. It's just a lot to show how fucked up our justice system is. Now, again, this is self-defense to the world. But let me ask you this. When women who are being abused by their significant other and they kill them, what is that? They're in jail rotting for killing their abusers. But in reality, they're doing it as self-defense. So I'm just trying to figure that out. So this is Rittenhouse, and this is women who kill their abusers. But again, you know, I don't know everything. And I know people in the comment section will probably say that too. That I don't know everything. I didn't watch the trial. I did watch this trial. Not everything of it, but I watched the trial. And it goes to show you that not many people care. So, yeah. And to anyone who's watching this, to parents who show this to their kids, tell them that we got to just make the future better. Make it better so that way we don't go back in time. And I know that we kind of still are going back in time, but at the same moment, we just gotta fix it. But yeah, let me know what you think about this. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh yeah, he's a hero, blah, 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 he's a hero. Not to me. To me, he is... I'm not going to say it, but yeah, he's not a hero to me. The people who he killed, those were heroes. And the one person he injured, those are heroes. But again, tell me what you guys think. And are you for? Are you against? What's on your mind? So, while working on the whole Rittenhouse trial and hearing the verdict, I was enraged, but at the same time, I happened to come across something which was similar to the whole Rittenhouse trial. However, what was shocking about it was that the person for this trial was African American. Now, a jury found Andrew A.J. Coffey IV, 27 years old. He was found not guilty of second-degree felony murder, 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder of a law enforcement officer by discharging a firearm, and 1 count of shooting or throwing a deadly missile. Now, Coffey was defending himself and his girlfriend when shots were fired at deputies during a early morning raid in 2017, and this was acquitted for charges that could have carried a life prison term. Now, on the same day of the Rittenhouse trial verdict and everything's on the way, the jury convicted Coffey of 1 count of possession of a firearm by a felon because he had a couple of them on him before this whole trial happened. Now, he could face up to a maximum prison sentence of 30 years. Now, the charges are related to March 19th of 2017 when there was a firefight between a sheriff officer's SWAT team and Coffey IV at his home in Gifford, Florida. Now, Coffey's girlfriend, Alteria Woods, 21 at the time, she died during the raid after being struck by 10 bullets fired by a SWAT team member, and including one that entered into her chest. Now, the second-degree murder count defended as an intentional killing that was premeditated and was in connection to Wood's death. And again, just, reading about this because it's not talked about as much on the internet and everything's on the way, it was very shocking to me. And after court on Friday, Coffey's attorney, Adam Strazen, I think that's how I say his name, said his client was relieved to hear that, they acquitted him of the most serious charges. Now, his trial was going on during the same trial as Rittenhouse, and on Wednesday, he testified on his own behalf that, as he did in March, he, during a standing your ground hearing, seeking immunity from prosecution. And then he told the judge up during the time, Dan Vaughn, he and Woods had been asleep when the deputies broke into the back of his house, and they broke the window to his bedroom using a pole, and then they detonated a flashbang device. Now, as mentioned earlier, beforehand in that trial, SWAT team members at the front of the house had quickly taken his father, Coffey III, into custody after a brief struggle between the home's front door. And during this whole thing, Coffey thought that he was being robbed, so, he went to grab his gun, and he insisted he didn't know about the raid that was going underway when he fired his .45 caliber pistol outside of his bedroom window. shooting at least 2 or 3 times with this. And deputies took turn and shooting a dozen rounds throughout the window, as court said in their statements. Again, this was very surprising to hear about this. And at the same time, you're figuring our justice system is fucked up. And it is. So hearing about this during the same trial as Kyle Rittenhouse, just goes, oh, okay, they're just trying to make sure that everything is okay, but I don't know. Again, our justice system is fucked up and needs to be changed so much. And folks, I'm terrified, to be honest with you. I truly am. Because no matter what, as a person of color, I can be seen as a threat. Even if I'm the nicest guy possible, I can be seen as a threat. But what are your thoughts about this whole thing? What are your thoughts about the whole Rittenhouse trial? What's your thoughts about this trial dealing with Coffey the Fourth? What are your thoughts about our justice system, since we get laughed at about it by other nations and whatnot? Let me know what's on your mind, okay? Like, share, comment, subscribe. Let people know I'm out there getting the word, because that's what I do. But with that being said, to all you folks out there, be safe, and I love you guys. All right? So, peace out.